Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian, welcoming you to a new channel trailer and the 3rd year celebration of my account of Indian. I want to apologize before we get started. I misled you, gentle viewers, when I said this was my 3rd year for the channel. That is not accurate. July 13th, 2016 was the day I created the account so that I could join YouTube. It is not the day that I started the channel. The day I started the channel was March the 24th of 2017 with my very first video, Let's Play Out of the Park Baseball 18 number 1 intro and game 1. I've tried to make my titles a bit pithier since then, but this is my very first video, and it's also the most viewed video on my channel. Thank you to everyone who's watched that video. And if you've been with me since the very beginning, I doubly thank you. So this is, in fact, not the 3rd year of the channel. The 3rd year of the channel won't be until next March. So maybe I'll do another video for that. Maybe I'll do another video later on. Who knows? On Twitter, of Indian Gaming. I asked for people to ask me questions as kind of an AMA, and people gave me questions both on YouTube and on Twitter. And we're going to get to some of those questions so I can talk both about the channel, about myself, about why I do this stuff, and hopefully you folks find it both entertaining and informative. Let's get to the questions. William Ashman writes, "Who is this? This random YouTuber popped up on my feed. I remember I used to watch his videos, but wow, it's been so long ago. LOL, welcome back." Your question may be rhetorical, but first of all, I have to criticize you for your logical causality. You say random YouTuber, but then say I used to watch his videos. Therefore, it isn't random. I got you there, William. I got you there. But I will answer the first question you asked. Who is this? I am of Indian. People call me Avi. A couple people call me Doc. Other people call me by my name, which I won't talk about, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I do videos on lots of different games, but primarily I focus on 3 areas: sports, strategy, and simulations. There's a fair smattering of RPGs on here if you check the backlog, and there's a bunch of other videos on here too from various other games, but those are the big 3. So that's who I am in a nutshell. I live in Texas. I am in my mid-30s. I am married. I don't have any kids, which is part of the reason why I can do YouTube. I think that about covers it. Moving on. Virginia Crook writes, "What do you think of the Betsy Ross flag Thomas Jefferson? I myself think you do not play 2019 values and mindset on 1770s. Virginia, excellent question. A bit of background will help you understand maybe why she posed this question to me. On Twitter, my name is Doctor of Indian because I have a PhD in history. My focus was actually Russian history, not American history, but I am an American. I was born and raised here. Spent my entire life, minus a short period in Russia. I am an American. I know something of American history. It's also something I read about a whole bunch. I like to think about it. I like to watch movies on it. I like to play video games about it. So, with that out of the way, I'm going to answer this question in 2 different ways because I want to educate as well as inform as well as entertain. First of all, Betsy Ross did not most likely create the flag called the Betsy Ross flag. Betsy Ross was a real person by all accounts. Betsy Ross was a seamstress that assisted the Continental Army in the 1770s. She's a bona fide American hero. And I salute Betsy Ross for her role in the revolution that made... Okay, not revolution. It's a war for independence. I don't want to get into it right now. There's no such thing as the American Revolution. There's just the war for independence. Anyway, she did not create the flag, most likely. There's no conclusive evidence in the historical record that indicates that she and she alone made the flag, or that she did anything more than maybe sew some of them. She might have sewed some of the flags, which are called Betsy Ross flags, but she herself did not create the design, most likely. Some historians argue otherwise. I'm on the fence about it, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. The second part of the question. I think you do not place 2019 Weizen mindset on the 1770s. This is an interesting historical debate. And in a certain sense, it is inescapable. We are all the prisoners of our own viewpoints. We cannot help but to put our own viewpoint on things, even if they are historical. Historians, which I used to be, I'm not now, but I used to be, have to examine the past using the record, using the sources we have at the time, but we always have to be conscious of bias. I look at things like, as an example, the Russo-Japanese War differently than people at the time did. I didn't live through it. I'm not that old. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So, to a certain extent, you cannot avoid doing this. You can try to mitigate it, but you can't avoid doing this. Now, I'm not going to show you what the flag looks like for a very specific reason. This flag has been co-opted by several that's a bit of a Freudian slip, right-wing white supremacist groups in the United States. And I wholeheartedly do not agree with any of their agendas whatsoever. I think they're, to be blunt, fairly terrible people. And so I'm not going to show the flag on my channel. You can Google it if you want to. If you do post it in the comments, fair warning, I will delete the comment and I'll block you from the channel. And that's another part of history too, though. I mean, the swastika used to be a perfectly normal religious symbol used in the Hindu faith. And then Hitler and his buddies co-opted it, and now it's a symbol of hatred. The meaning of symbols has to change based on how history proceeds, or life would become ultimately meaningless. So, a bit more rambly than I wanted to get another question, but hopefully I did answer your question, Bridget. Hope you understand why I made the answer that I did. Moving on. Jacob Grabelny with the amazing avatar. What is your profession and what made you start doing YouTube? Also, what's your favorite game of all time? First question first. What is your profession? I am an employee of the U.S. federal government. And that is the extent to which I'm going to answer that question. Excuse me. Hopefully that doesn't upset anyone. I did say I would try to answer questions to the best of my ability. This is one that I don't want to answer more, simply because I value my privacy. I'm kind of a private person in real life, and I don't want people trying to find me and bother me and harass me. That's what Twitter's for. You can tweet whatever you want to me in Twitter, and that's fine. But I don't want people trying to dox me or find out where I live, or bother me at work, or bother me at home. So, hopefully you forgive me, Jacob, but I'm not going to go any farther than employee for the U.S. federal government. What made you start doing YouTube? Excellent question. Two things. I have to give two specific people shout-outs for a different reason. Is it shout-outs or shouts out? Shouts out, right? Because out is an adverb and can't be plural. Like, in what direction am I shouting out? I got distracted. I'm sorry. My favorite YouTuber for a very long time, still one of my favorites, was Enter Elysium. He's the first person that I started watching on YouTube that made a living at it. And I was thinking at the time, because I wasn't an employee of the federal government at the time, this could be a career for me. And it didn't end up working out. Which is fine, because I love the job that I have now. I make more money than I probably would make if I were being a professional YouTuber. And I can do this for fun. And I can do it when I want to, how I want to, and not have to worry about ads or any of that nonsense. So it ended up working out for the best. But the reason I started doing YouTube in the first place was because of a guy named Captain Easy. I don't remember his YouTube handle, I apologize. Captain Easy was on the Paradox Interactive / Paradox Development Studio forums that I used to be a very frequent poster on. I'm not there very much anymore, but I was in the past. And one of the most common things on the Paradox Forum is to create something called an after action report, or AAR for short. And AARs are when you play a Paradox game and either narrate it from the perspective of particular characters, narrate it as a history book, narrate it as a comedy, or simply just give a play by play. And these were all text based with images. And Captain Easy did a bunch of them on Hearts of Iron 4, Hearts of Iron 3, pardon me, Hearts of Iron 3, that I really quite enjoyed. And then he started doing videos. And I was a little bit upset at first, but then I got to thinking. It could take me 4 to 5 hours to do one update of an AAR. And I would do 3 to 4 of them a week, so you can see how much time it took. YouTube is much faster. And after I watched some of Captain Easy's videos, I realized you can still do a great job of talking about a game and giving entertaining commentary, even if you're not doing all this other stuff. So that's what made me decide to start doing YouTube. I wanted to first do just Paradox games. I found out how much people liked how much people like baseball, and how few people doing OOTP, which is the other reason I got involved on YouTube. Finally, your third question. My favorite game of all time is not Fallout 4. Bit of a red herring, but I want to explain why I don't like Fallout 4 as much, explain why I do love the game that I do love. Fallout 4 has a couple of problems. It's overall a good game. I haven't finished it. I will eventually. But I don't feel the same passion that I do even for Fallout New Vegas, that I do for Fallout 4. What's the issue? I'm going to think about that for a minute and I'll get back to you, okay? Okay. By the way, Grizzly Old Dude, that was for your benefit. I knew I was going to have to clear my throat pretty loudly, so I decided to mute the microphone and do it then. I'll try to remember to do that in the future. I've also moved my microphone so that I'm not hurting people's ears when my throat clears or whatever. So hopefully that's good, better for you, Grizzly Old Dude. Thank you for the comment. I'm not upset. I always appreciate constructive feedback and things I can do to make the channel better. Back to Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has an interesting story, sort of, with interesting gameplay, sort of, very good graphics, and a reasonably good soundtrack. These are general things I would combine to make one of my favorite games. But Fallout 4 has so many Radiant quests, in that one quest giver gives you the same quest over and over and over and over again. And it's not always obvious that they're Radiant either. And your reward is typically a little bit of money, or a small item, or a little bit of XP. And they're just so worthless. And Fallout 4, they're so easy to stumble into, and you think you're doing something that might actually be meaningful. And then you waste 45 minutes clearing out an area, bringing back an item, and you basically just get a pat on the back. And that's so frustrating. Every quest in a game, or at least most of them, have to have meaning. They have to advance a story. They have to give you a cool new trick. They have to introduce you to new and fun characters that you'll be talking to more later on. They take you to someplace new that's exciting, that you've never been to before. And Fallout 4 just fails to do that with so many of these Radiant quests. And they're hard to ignore. Coupling that with the settlement system, which is neat in practice, but it just takes so much time to do properly. And so much of it is purely cosmetic, with no real effect on the game, that I just stopped doing it. I've tried to play through Fallout 4 twice now. Once on PlayStation 4, once on computer. And I keep just stopping. And I keep asking myself, why do I keep playing? I want to find out what happens in the main storyline, but I also like doing side quests, and it just seems like Fallout 4 side quests just aren't that great to me. There's not enough reward to them. There's not enough flavor. There's not enough to separate them from any number of other quests. Skyrim has Radiant Quests too, also not my favorite game. Skyrim has Radiant Quests too, but they're a lot more obvious because it's always, hey, do you have any work for me? And then they give you the Radiant Quest. It's not... The quests are meaningless, but they're upfront about it. And so that I know, oh, maybe I'll do this when I'm on the way to somewhere else, but otherwise I'll probably ignore it. Skyrim's quests typically take you to see something cool, or give you a cool item, or get you XP, or get you skill books, or anything else. And that's why I don't like Fallout 4 as much as I like Skyrim or New Vegas, or most importantly, my favorite game of all time, Deus Ex. I was already a teenager when I first played Deus Ex. Might have even been close to 20. No, I was definitely still a teenager. As I said earlier, I'm in my mid-30s. This was the first game I played that just... I'd played other games in the past, and I'd played them for a long time. But this is the first game that I played multiple times, and had a blast each and every time I was doing it. Because I wanted to try to solve problems different ways. I wanted to see, is there a cool new quest that I didn't catch the first time? I love the game, I love the story, I love the characters so much that I just wanted to keep playing it over and over and over again. The game itself isn't that long. You can probably finish it in about 20 hours and through your first playthrough. But it's so good. And every quest feels meaningful. You get a bigger part of the story. You get a new item. You get XP that you can spend on a skill rather than the weird perk system, which is kind of counterintuitive in Fallout 4. You constantly feel like you're getting more powerful, and yet you're still getting challenged as new enemies, new obstacles, new puzzles are put before you. I love Deus Ex so much. As I play new games, I play The Witcher 3. I really like The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is too big. I cannot see myself playing Witcher 3 again just because it would take me too much time. Deus Ex, I literally bought again when I was recording this video, before I recorded this video, because I was like, holy shit, I only had a copy on disc and I don't have the disc anymore. I heart Deus Ex forever. I will always love Deus Ex. The sequels have much nicer graphics, they had some cool new gameplay elements, but it never felt quite the same. To me, it just never felt quite the same. Particularly as the boss battles became more of a focus. The boss battles in Deus Ex are the weakest part of the game. They're still decent, but they're the worst part. Except for the ones you can kill some of the bosses just by knowing how to get around them, which is amazing. And I love it. I wish the other games had done that. Because the boss battles in some of the other games kind of The other games are fun. They're really good. And I really enjoyed Human Revolution. I really enjoyed Mankind Divided. I even liked Invisible War, which a lot of other people didn't because I love Deus Ex so much. But Deus Ex is just mwah. It's gaming perfection for me. In a way that just no other game off the top of my head reaches that same pinnacle. If I were a lazy YouTuber, I'd give you like a top 20 list. But I'm just going to give you one hard and fast answer, Deus Ex, and move on with my life. The last question comes from Twitter. The Dude231 writes, what is your favorite beer and why is it Great Lakes Christmas Ale? I grew up in the Cleveland area. I've made a secret about this on my channel. I love Cleveland sports. And I happen to be quite fond of beer. But I've never had Great Lakes Christmas Ale. So I apologize. If someone wants to send me some beer, I would probably still say no. Maybe next time I go home and visit family, I'll try to try some. So I have to disappoint you, the dude 231. But I will tell you what my favorite beer is. And it's gonna sound boring, but you asked. It's Guinness. Preferably Guinness Extra Stout, but Guinness in any of its forms. Because I love dark beer, I love bitter beer, I love porters, I love stouts. Too many microbrews are IPAs. They're all India Pale Ale, and they all kind of taste the same. And the ones that don't taste the same taste awful. But Guinness is just... I could drink Guinness all day. I won't because that would make me an alcoholic, but I could. Honorable mention to Nitro Milk Stout, which I believe is a microbrew down here in Texas. Russian Imperial Stout's quite good. There's a couple other stouts and porters that I quite like, but Guinness is my favorite and always will be. As a bonus question, I will tell you my single individual favorite beer, which was totally unexpected. I was in Russia to do my archival research, and it was the 4th of July, and I was getting ready to leave Russia. I was going to leave in a couple weeks. I'd been there for almost a year. I missed my wife, I missed America, and I wanted to go home. And someone's like, for the 4th of July, let's American the shit out of the holiday. And I had a Bud Light. Now, Bud Light is absolute horse piss. It's terrible beer. The only reason you should ever drink Bud Light is if you don't drink it, you will die. And even then, death might be preferable. But in that moment, in that context, that beer tasted like absolute perfection. It was amazing. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. It was every adjective you can think of. It was awesome. And I will never drink Bud Light again. But in that one specific moment, that beer was my absolute favorite. But I'd rather drink one Guinness than 100 Bud Lights. Even with lime. Which is like putting a lime in sewer water and saying, hey, it's better now. It's still sewer water, guys. It's still sewer water. Oh, and with that, I'm going to close out this video. I want to thank everyone who's watched the channel so far, whether you've watched one video, 100 videos, or all my videos. I don't know that anyone has watched all of them. And before you say you have, I know you're lying because I know there's a couple videos that have no views. And I want to thank you if you're just trying me out for the first time. Maybe you saw my trailer and you're like, who is this guy? Maybe he's got cool stuff. And I hope you choose to join me for future videos. But thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Avindian, and I bid you good day.